Notice what it says here, July 23rd, 2018, and we do not want this to be a long-labored study as we're dealing with this prophetic insight here. CRUX, a Catholic website, says,
U.S. Secretary of State says Catholic Church has central role in fight for religious freedom.
Now, when you hear and you read the word central role, what synonymous words would you use for central role?
I would say primary role.
Notice what it says here, beneath Hillary.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said Pope Francis and the Catholic Church have a central role in promoting religious liberty. Pompeo was speaking to Vatican News
Ahead of the first ministerial to advance religious freedom taking place in Washington, D.C. When, Hillary?
from July 24th through the 26th.
And what's today's date?
July 24th.
So from now, Tuesday, July 24th, through Thursday, July 26th, this convention, this convocation, this summit is going on in Washington, D.C. And notice, this is the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, saying that the Pope Francis and the Roman Catholic Church should have the central role, the main role, the primary role as it relates to fighting for religious freedom. Let us connect another paragraph with this, and once we connect that paragraph, then we shall make a startling, profound application here. The next paragraph says,
The State Department has invited foreign ministers from over 40 countries, international organization representatives, religious leaders, and civil society representatives to discuss challenges, identify concrete ways to combat religious persecution and discrimination, and ensure greater respect for religious freedom for all.
So as we combined this paragraph with the previous, this is the Secretary of State now, the Trump administration. And we know that the United States of America is presently the world's superpower in various aspects, which includes military might. And here is Mike Pompeo gathering, look at the screen, foreign ministers, as well as who in red?
Religious leaders.
So he's gathering church and state leaders from all around the world. And once they convene, who does Mike Pompeo say that foreign ministers and religious leaders must listen to, must follow?
Roman Catholicism, under Pope Francis, of course.
This sounds like a bait and switch.
Yes, it does.
So we're seeing here that a fulfillment of Bible prophecy is taking place. Gathering church and state leaders and say, now listen and follow the marching orders of Pope Francis. Let's go. Revelation 13. Let's see what's being fulfilled here. Chapter 13 of the Revelation, verse 3 speaks about the deadly wound of the papacy being healed. And all the world shall do what, Hillary?
Wander after the beast.
Shall wander after the beast. And then the Bible tells us one way in which all the world will wander after the papacy, the beast. Verse number 11 and verse 12 says, the Bible says that America will cause all that dwell upon the earth, verse 12, to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. That's now right. Watch carefully. So we see these two powers uniting. The prophecies are being fulfilled. The close of probation is near. Now notice this sentence in the whole paragraph. Let's focus here on the red words.
And ensure greater respect for religious freedom for all. Now, this really sounds like an oxymoron. How can the Roman Catholic Church champion a cause such as religious freedom when she in times past has been totally opposed and intolerant of religious freedom? Correct.
Now, some critic would say, why should you, Andrew Henriquez, you, Hillary Henriquez, Safe to Serve, local, Safe to Serve international, prophesy again, why should you be so alarmed? Saying that church and state are uniting, and the end result is going to be persecution for God's commandment-keeping people, that their civil and their religious freedoms are going to be curtailed. restricted, removed. When this article is saying that Pompeo and Pope Francis and the rest, they want to ensure greater respect for what? Religious freedom for how many?
For all.
So they're saying, calm down, safe to serve. But let's answer that. Notice this paragraph here. It says, there are countries that share America's understanding of that. There are those who don't. And we want to move each of these countries in the right direction towards what? Increasing religious freedom. Notice now, in some countries, I want everyone to follow this. In some countries that they're saying restrict liberty to worship. In most of these countries, the Catholic Church, the Catholic religion is suppressed in these countries. So now when America and Pope Francis now say, let's champion freedom for all denominations, for all churches. Now the Roman Catholic Church can rise to prominence in these countries. And when she rises to prominence, what happens or what will happen based on prophecy?
A revival of popery will follow.
Let's confirm that. Daniel 7, go there. In the 7th chapter of Daniel, verse number 7, verse number 8, once the Roman Empire gave power and seat and great authority to the Roman Catholic Church. Verse 7, verse 8 of Daniel 7, what happened in verse 25?
Persecution.
For
wear
who?
out the saints of the Most High.
Let's read that, Hillary. Verse 25.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. That's significant.
Correct.
And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time.
Now notice, in the book Great Controversy, page 564, we are told that many say, do not be alarmed about the movements and the words of the papacy, because the papacy will never ever persecute God's people again. Red words, Hillary.
Such see nothing in the character and attitude of Romanism that is hostile to our free institutions, or find nothing portentous in its growth. Let us then first compare some of the fundamental principles of our government with those of the Catholic Church.
Let's do that. Notice now, we're told on page 564, this is history from the 1850s and the 1860s, from the popes. And we're told in chapter 13 of the Revelation, which animal is used to depict the papacy largely?
A leopard.
The leopard-like beast. And what is known about the leopard based on Jeremiah chapter 13?
It cannot change its spots.
Thank you. And back to the screen, we're told that the papacy detests, despises the principles in the U.S. Constitution that gives and grants civil and
religious liberty.
And these are two of the most primary reasons why the pilgrims left the old world and came to America and founded and established a nation upon those two primary principles.
Correct.
Now notice now, even former President Abraham Lincoln had much to say about the priests and the Catholics and the Jesuits of Rome, how they despise our freedoms and want to overthrow the U.S. Constitution. GC 565.
The pacific tone of Rome in the United States does not imply a change of heart.
Leper-like beast. Yes, sir.
She is tolerant where she is helpless, says Bishop O'Connor. Religious liberty is merely endured until the opposite can be carried into effect without peril to the Catholic world. I think this statement brings to view that not only are we to look at the movements of the Roman Catholic Church, but we are also to look at the movements of the image of the beast, which is the United States, because a lot of people...
Apostate Protestants.
That's right. A lot of individuals are saying, yes, Rome now, she has changed, so we don't need to be alarmed. She wants religious freedom. And on the other hand, people are saying, and furthermore, the United States can never be anything that she, has always been, anything other than what she has always been, the grantor of religious liberty. But these two powers combined are going to destroy religious liberty, as we're going to see as we move forward.
Well said. Is the papacy showing signs that she detests personal and also religious civil freedoms?
Yes.
It's right there on the screen, my friends. Let's pass that.
That's right.
Notice.
So it's not only in the history,
Thank
but we're
you.
showing presently that she still feels the same way as in 1854 when that statement was written.
There it is on the screen. Notice now, my friends, in the same article, Mike Pompeo stating that Pope Francis and the Catholic Church must take a central role in promoting liberties. Now, notice on that statement here, what does the Pope say is the primary thing that must be enforced by nations to enforce religious freedom? He says Sunday must be enforced. So when Mike Pompeo is now gathering right now in Washington, D.C., civil leaders and churchmen and saying, look to the Pope, his policies to fight for freedoms in the area of religion. What does the Pope say? Blue words on the screen. Christians, in respect of what, Hillary?
Of religious freedom and of the common good of all, should seek to have Sundays and the church's holy days recognized as legal holidays.
And that is in their documents. One more statement. Look at the red words, first sentence. The Pope said that in defending what, Hillary?
In defending Sunday as a day of rest, one defends human freedom.
That's clear, right?
Wow, crystal clear.
Sunday observance worldwide. This is not just a national Sunday law, even though based on prophecy, it must begin in America, but we're seeing seeds being sown and fruits now showing it's going to be an international Sunday law. Yes.
And I just want to say, if the other legal holidays or holy days of the Catholic Church are now recognized as federal holidays, what makes individuals doubt that Sunday will become a holy day, a day of rest? No shopping, no,
can't buy or sell.
Exactly.
That's it. And that's one of the reasons that led Poland to enforce no shopping on Sunday, the Sunday shopping ban. Let's get back here. The first sentence of this BBC News says, free Sundays are what all Catholics, non-Catholics, and non-believers need. These are words from the papacy. Wow. All right? Notice now. Then it says, watch carefully, Mike Pompeo says what, Hillary?
The State Department under President Trump has made religious freedom a true priority.
Stop right there now. So notice now, it is what? A true priority for the Trump administration. And Mike Pompeo says, even now he's saying with civil leaders and churchmen that whose lead must they follow? Whose policies must they adopt to fight for freedoms?
Roman Catholicism.
And what does the papacy say must be enforced?
Sunday observance.
So what is the true and top priority of the Trump administration as we connect the dots?
The enforcement of Sunday observance.
All right, friends.
And if this administration was really for religious freedom, why would they have such bans on Muslims? The travel bans and so forth. So it shows while they're championing religious freedom for all, certain groups do not have religious freedom. As a matter of fact, their freedoms are stripped away. So it will be when the Sunday law is enforced, that group that will not adhere, they will have no freedom.
So here we are showing when the Pope met with Trump, or Trump met with the Pope at the Vatican. And what did they meet about? Blue and red words, to defend, keywords, to defend, red words, to defend human freedom around the world. Let's go back because sometimes people forget. And what does the Pope say must be enforced? To defend, red words, first sentence. Pope said that what, Hillary? In defending Sunday as a day of rest, one does what?
Defend human freedom.
I don't see how we can miss it. Right. Back to my screen. Notice now, again, this is what? Ensuring religious freedom for how many?
For all.
Let's go deep now. Notice now, people are saying, but Andrew Enriquez, it's for all. There's no persecution coming for those who keep God's 10 commandments, as you are saying. It's for everybody. Let's go back into history. Was there ever a time when God's commandment-keeping people were being bloody persecuted? Yes. And this brings us to the 4 horses in Revelation 6. Go there with us. Chapter 6 of the, friends, watch prophetic insights. Chapter 6. Revelation, we see the white horse, right?
Yes.
Red horse, black horse, and pale horse. White horse, purity. apostles' time period. Then we come to the red horse, which is the bloody persecution under which emperor? Emperor Diocletian. Red horse. Then came the black horse under Constantine. And what was that edict called?
The Edict of Milan.
And notice now, that edict granted religious freedom for how many?
For all.
Do you see it now? Get to my screen, friends. And after this edict of Milan was put in place, freedom for all religions, all. In the year 313, what happened 8 years after 321 AD by Constantine?
The enforcement of a national Sunday law. Sunday law.
All right. And once that came to pass, 321 AD, what began to happen thereafter, even up to 538 and beyond?
Persecution ensued.
Then came the pale horse, my friends.
Right.
That's it. Now, what we just said, let's scan quickly. Here it is. We are perusing these points now. There it is on the screen, the four horsemen. Notice now, Diocletian, bloody persecution for all Christians. And then we come to 313, the Edict of Milan. Red words, it says freedom for all religions, all Christians. Move on, watch carefully now. And then came 321 AD Sunday law.
Yep.
Constantine.
Yes.
And of course, then came with the pale horse. Notice now, friends, what is the Pope calling for? Another Edict of Milan, which means what? Religious freedom for all. Come on, friends. You can see that. And then what happened in 538 and beyond for God's commandment keeping people by the papacy?
Persecution.
And what is the Pope calling for now?
He's calling for mandatory Sunday observance.
And what are the Catholics now saying headline?
Well, Catholic teaching doesn't always forbid the death penalty.
Ah, friend, death penalty for the common good. And what is linked with the common good? Sunday observance. We are here, my friend. It's clear as day. And notice now, do you remember look at the screen, this video by Gambino? What's in the background there? As you can see, what's in the background they're riding? A horseman. Do you see it? Mm-hmm. White horse with a black person. A person in black clothing. Two horses now. Horses. God is showing us what's coming, friends. Even the media is telling us we're living in this time of these four horsemen. Let's move on here. Watch carefully. And as Pompeo is now uniting with the Pope to champion so-called freedoms for Christians, every time we see the American civil leaders unite with the Pope of Rome, what always happens? They overthrow a common enemy. Look at our screen. Who are these two men, Hillary?
This is Pope John Paul II with Ronald Reagan.
And once they came together and they united, who did they overthrow?
Communism.
Communism, a common enemy. Now watch. So what will happen in these last days now? As we see America and the papacy now uniting, what will happen next?
They will unite to overthrow those who do not yield homage to the papacy.
Thank you so much. And that is chapter 13 of the Revelation, verse 12 all the way down through verse 17. Notice, in 1989, when America and Pope united to overthrow their common enemy, do you know who backed that alliance, that confederacy, and funded that confederacy? Blue words, last line, Hillary.
Money for the banned union came from CIA funds, the National Endowment for Democracy.
And who else?
Secret accounts in the
Vatican. Pause right there. So when Reagan and John Paul II came together, who was backing them?
Well, the Vatican and the CIA, and it also says Western trade unions.
Thank
and
you
we
so
know
much.
what the Spirit of Prophecy says about trade unions. So all of these various groups that are mentioned
Correct.
are connected with the Sunday movement.
And may I ask you one question? What office did Mike Pompeo hold before he was brought in as Secretary of State? CIA Director. What a connection. What a connection. Friends, you can pause the video and read this, showing us again from a Catholic newspaper. They're telling us, red words, Wall Street and the CIA are the boogeymen of revolutionary Latin American governments. Their hands, whose hands? Oh, friends, have been used to overthrow various enemies of America and the Catholic Church. Question now, what does the CIA mean?
Well, the Central Intelligence Agency, but it also has been nicknamed Catholics Intelligence Agency, or Catholics in Action.
There it is. Mike Pompeo, former CIA director. There it is. From the Catholic website themselves, they're telling you CIA means what? Catholic what, Hillary?
Intelligence Agency.
And what else?
And Catholics in Action.
All right. Notice, my friends, the most funded, it says right here, of all the intelligence agencies. Past that, my friends. Notice now, even a few years ago, in 2016, okay, talk to us here. So what happened there?
Well, the CIA were using torturing techniques, which they said, the U.S. government said that they borrowed it from the Spanish Inquisition.
So hold on, let's connect these dots now. Mike Pompeo, former CIA director. Mike Pompeo now saying he wants to unite all the world to follow whose policies? The Pope of Rome. CIA means what? Central
Intelligence Agency.
Or?
Catholics in Action.
And?
Catholics Intelligence Agency.
All right. And notice now, the CIA stated that they received their interrogation technique from what?
From the Spanish Inquisition.
What's the key word there?
Inquisition.
And who originated the Inquisition in the Dark Ages?
Roman Catholicism.
What a connection.
Yes.
What a connection, friends. Notice now, is the board, is there a modern Inquisition board today in 2018?
Yes, there is.
It's right there on the screen, friends.
Yes.
Again, you may pause the video and read these things for yourself. Right there, 2017, the modern Inquisition board still exists. I wonder why. For what reason?
Well, because they're going to bring back the Inquisition, and they're still active today.
Notice, friends, as we bring this to a close, Mike Pompeo, headline BBC News, 2018.
Trump's loyalist diplomat and ex-spymaster.
Hold on now. So Mike Pompeo, who was the former CIA director, the CIA is a spying agency. Wait a minute now. Inquisition, CIA, Inquisition. Who was the champion? What was the name of the men who carried out the Inquisition for the Roman Catholic Church, Hillary?
The Jesuits.
And the Jesuits carry out what type of work in various nations?
Secret
Who are they?
Work. They're spies.
They're spies.
That's right.
So are we saying Mike Pompeo is a Jesuit? Only he alone knows. All I know is the work he's doing is very similar, identically the same as
the work of the Jesuits.
Thank you so much, Hillary. There it is, GC 235 red words. They became what, Hillary?
Servants to act as spies upon their masters.
And wherever they went, what happened? Last phrase?
A revival of popery.
Thank you so much, Hillary. Let's get back here as we close now. Now they say, Mike Pompeo now says that he wants America and the world to follow whose policies? The Pope of Rome. Then he says now that two things are intimately connected. The championing of freedom of religion and the economy. Come on, Hillary, let's read that. Red words.
Okay, we think that religious freedom and human rights and economic success are deeply connected.
Friends, you have to see this. Let's backtrack. Notice now. So what does the Pope say must be enforced to defend freedom of religion? Sunday. And now Mike Pompeo now says that is linked to what? The economy. What prophecy is this now?
Well, Revelation 13:15.
Tell us.
That those who refuse the mark of the beast will not be able to
buy
or sell.
Through verse 17. Thank you. Friends, can you see this? All right. Let's bring this to a wrap now and let's get out of here. Watch carefully now. Here is Mike Pompeo. He is the Secretary of State in which branch of the three branches of government?
Executive branch.
And who is he saying every leader in the world must follow?
Pope Francis.
And whose policies must come to America?
Roman Catholic policies.
And which branch is he in primarily?
Executive branch.
And what did Paul Ryan say a few weeks ago?
He's the Speaker of the House, and he said that America needs Catholicism.
Mercy. And which branch is that, Paul Ryan?
Legislative.
And what's happening now in the Supreme Court?
Well, Kavanaugh
Friends,
is set to be approved.
Friends, we are here.
And he's a Jesuit.
Come on, Hillary.
Roman Catholic principles will be taken under the care and protection of the state.
Are we here, friends? Now watch this last point. Now, Paul Ryan says he wants Catholic social teaching to be brought into America to fulfill John Paul II's call for a new evangelization. What does that mean? Let the Pope tell you. Headline, Hillary.
Evangelization means the renewal of Catholic institutions.
How much clearer can it be? And what is the primary institution for the Roman Catholics?
Sunday sacredness.
Are we here? Here comes Mike Pompeo now, July 19, 2018. What does he say, Hillary?
Trump administration making CLARION call for religious freedom around the world.
And CLARION call, it means a trumpet call, a loud call. Are they blowing their trumpets?
They are.